Page number 114, Chapter 11, Light and Shadow, Module 3 discussion. In this interactive video session, we are going to learn about the shadows. What is the meaning of shadow? How the shadow is formed? Or we can say what are the different requirements in order to form the shadow. It is the experiment we can easily perform in order to understand the formation of shadow. What is the size of the formation of shadow? And to understand the size of shadow, we can perform the activity or the experiment. And the few number of characteristics regarding the shadow. This is the picture that tells about the formation of shadow. This is called the source of light. This is the object, and this is the shadow, and this is the plane area. Before understanding this formation of shadow, first we have to know the meaning of shadow. Simply we can say shadow, it is the dark area. What is shadow? Shadow, it is the dark area of any object that is formed on the plane when the source of light is blocked by the object. The shadow is always formed when something blocks the path of the source of light. This is the precondition for the formation of any shadow on the plane. I repeat once again, in order to form any type of shadow of any object, the precondition is that a shadow is formed when something blocks the path of the light. That means the source of light must be blocked by the object. Then the shadow of any object can be possible to be formed. Otherwise, it is quite impossible for the formation of shadow on the plane of any object. This is the precondition, blocking the path of the source of light. And the shadow is called the dark area. And this dark area is of the object which blocks the source of light, the path of the source of light. Therefore, we can say shadow, it is the area of the object that doesn't get any light and it remains dark. And consulting this diagram, we can easily discover ourselves that a shadow is always black, or we can say the gray. The shadow is always black or gray, and the color of this shadow, black either or gray, it never depend on the color of the any object. Whatsoever be the color of the object, the color of the shadow is always black. If the color of the object is red, green, yellow, the color of the shadow is always the black. Mind it. Changing the color of the object doesn't permit the changing of the color of the shadow. The formation of shadow is always in black color, or we can say in light black color, irrespective of the color of the object. Now we have to understand how the shadow is formed. To form the shadow of any object, we need three distinct things in our hand. For example, number one is source of light. Second one is something that blocks the light coming from the source. And third one is the surface to form the shadow on. These are the three factors which are responsible for the formation of any shadow of any object on the plane. Now let's consult this diagram. There is the source of light, this one, the sun, and we are seeing that there is a boy and this is the object that is blocking the source, the path of the source of light, and due to the blocking of the source of path of light, sunlight, there is the formation of the shadow. This one, the dark area on the plane, and this one is the plane. This is called the shadow. It is very important to know that these are the three important factors which are responsible for the formation of the shadow on the plane when the path of the source of light is blocked by the object. Here it is by the boy, and due to the blocking the path of the source of light, the dark area is formed of that object on the plane, and this dark area or region of that object is called the shadow. This one, this dark area region, and it is similar area or dark region of this object or the boy. And we can easily identify the requirements. Number one, this is the sun, source of light. Number two factor is something that blocks the light coming from the source. This one, the boy, it is blocking the path of the source of light, and the surface on which the shadow is formed. This one is the surface, the green area. Now we can easily discover ourselves the formation of such kind of shadow, and we can easily understand by doing the experiment. And to do that experiment, we need the torchlight and the book. The material required are the torchlight and the book, and using the torchlight and book we can easily understand ourselves about the formation of the shadow. And the procedural method is, first we have to shine the torchlight towards any wall, and then we have to hold the opaque object, the book, clear between the source of between the source of light and the book, the wall. I repeat once again, first we have to shine the torch of light towards the wall, then we have to hold the opaque object, the book, between the source of light and the wall. Then what will we observe? That answer is, we will see the formation of the shadow of the book on the wall, because the opaque object, the book, it blocks the path of the source of light, and due to the blocking of the path of the source of light, the dark area or region of the book is formed on the wall, and this dark region or area of the book is called the shadow of that object, the opaque book. I hope the experiment is clear, and through this performing the experiment we can easily discover ourselves about the formation of the shadow. Now we are going for how different the size of shadow is formed. there are different situations depending on which the size and the shape of the shadow may vary, such as it should be noted that the formation of the shadow, the size of the formation of shadow always depends on the distance between the source of light and the object. This is the precondition. Once again I repeat, in order to understand about the size of the formation of shadow, first we have to focus on the distance between the source of light and the object. That means the size of shadow always depend on the distance lies between the source of light and the object. This is the precondition. Always depends on the distance lies between the source of light and the object. Now, in order to understand the formation of the size of the shadow, we can easily perform such kind of experiment. And the material required for performing such kind of experiments are: number one, candle. This is the source of light. Then pencil. We have to take the pencil, the opaque material, and the clay. We can take clay. This is the pencil, and the pencil has been fixed upright using the clay, and there is the source of light called the candle. These are the required materials in order to perform this activity, to understand or to know the size of the formation of the shadow. Now the procedure or method of using this experiment is: first we have to use the clay to fix the pencil upright on the table. This is the first step. Now after fixing the pencil upright on the table, we have to place the source of light, the candle, a little distance from the pencil. Now we have to observe the shadow, the size of the shadow of the pencil formed on the table. And if we move the source of light, the candle, from the pencil, then we will observe ourselves the different sizes of the formation of shadow of the pencil. And the final observation is the shadow is longer when the candle, the source of light, is closer to the pencil. I repeat, the size of the formation of shadow, this is the shadow of the pencil, the size of the formation of shadow is longer when the source of light, the candle, is closer to the pencil. But if the distance between the source of light, candle, and the pencil is further, then the size of the object, the pencil, the size of the shadow of the pencil will be shorter. That means shorter distance, longer shadow, further distance, shorter shadow. These are the two distinct situations of the sizes of the formation of the shadow. In a simpler language, we can say that when the distance between the source of light and the object is more, pay your attention, when the distance is more between the source of light and the object, the size of the shadow is smaller. But when the distance between the source of light and the object is less, not more, less, then the size of the shadow is bigger. These are the two distinct situations on which the size of the formation of shadow depends. When the distance between the source of light and the object is longer, is further, then we will say that the formation of the shadow is shorter. But when the distance between the source of light and the object is closer, less, then we will say that the size of the formation of the shadow is longer or the bigger. Now we have to know about what is the umbra and what is the penumbra. In the shadow, we will discover the two distinct area or the region in the shadow. When we will discover the dark region in the shadow, this dark region of the shadow is called the umbra, but the laser dark region or gray region of the shadow, it is called the penumbra. I repeat once again, shadow has two distinct areas or the regions. The darker or the darkest region of the shadow is called the umbra, and generally it is situated or located in the center of the shadow. And the laser dark or the gray region of the shadow, generally it is located in the outer side of the shadow. It is called the penumbra. Consulting this diagram, we can easily visualize that umbra, this is the centered region, the centered dark region of the shadow, it is called the umbra, whereas the outer gray region of the shadow, it is called the penumbra. Now we have to know about the two important characteristics of the formation of shadow, that the formation of shadow always depend on the position of the source of light, because depending on the position of source of light, the shadows are of different shapes and sizes. When the position of the source of light is furthest from the object, then we will see that the size and the shape of the shadow is shorter. But when the distance of the source of light is closer to the object, then the shape and size of the shadow is longer. This is the first characteristic of the formation of the shadow. That's why while we standing in the sun, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, or once in the evening, we will discover ourselves that sometimes the shadow is bigger, sometimes is smaller, and it occurs because of the different position of the source of light, the sun. And that's why we are coming across with the different sizes of the formation of the shadow. This is the first characteristic. The second characteristic is that the shadow is always formed on the opposite side of the source of light. Very important. The shadow is always formed on the opposite side of the source of light, but not on the same side of the source of light. I hope the video was informative about the formation of the shadow, the meaning of the shadow, and the factors responsible for the formation of the shadow, and how can we discover about the different sizes of the shadow. In our next video, we will discuss about the eclipses. Till then, stay safe, keep reading yourself seriously. Thanks for watching this video.